Ai welina me ke aloha e nā lei a ala o kohilo, nā pōkihi, nā kumu hoʻohalike o neia hale o hale aloha me ka haka ula o ke eliko lani. Ia ʻōkou nā hoa aloha, nā hoa malihini, mai oa o, mai kahi kihi a kahi kihi, nā ʻōiwi e noke ana I ka hoʻola o lelo ʻōiwi. Aloha no, Kakou. So I'm taking a slightly different approach and I really thank Amy. And Amy, she and I go back. We're very good friends, and she's the kind of friend, if her name pops up on my phone, I already know my response. Ai hikino. Yes, can do, sister. So mahalo to Amy for giving me this challenge to just take pause and to collect my thoughts and some reflections. What I want to offer you today is just to talk through my journey as an education practitioner, as a language advocate, and now as a wahine business owner. So, gonna start off my personal journey and storytelling with a beloved place. And I wanna take you to the year 1996. I don't know if all of you were born in the year 1996, but in the year of 1996, here's what I was doing. I was attending University of Hawaii Manoa, pursuing a bachelor's degree in Hawaiian studies. I had just transferred over from UH Hilo to take care of my tutu back on my home island on Oʻahu. Loving my courses, loving Hawaiian studies, loving my language courses. I didn't have a similar affection for my chemistry courses, my biology courses, my math courses, and it wasn't because of the nature of the subject or the content. What it lacked for me was relevance, and we heard that previously from our brilliant speakers. Relevance. So while I was learning the content in the classes, I didn't understand how I could apply that particular ike in those subject areas to real life, to be in service of community, to be in service of Aina, in service of Ohana, of family. So I asked my father, can you please help me? Kokoa mai. And he did. He called very quickly a friend. Little did I know that one phone call was going to forever change my life. That phone call took me on a bus, Honolulu City bus from urban Honolulu, all the way to the windward side of Oʻahu, got off the bus, traversed down this really steep hill, being somewhat disoriented, not knowing exactly where I was going to end up. I was greeted by a lovely lady, a haole lady, who later became my mentor. And she guided me, and we walked silently for about 25 minutes, I would say, until we got to this break in the wall. You'll see green, 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 and then no green, and then green again. That was a major break in the wall. And what we did is we just sat. We looked up at the beautiful watershed named Iolani, and we took it all in. I closed my eyes, and at a very instant moment, I heard, I smelt, and I could see in my mind individuals, groups, massive community coming together, doing something. I knew that, and they were doing it in a loving fashion because I heard laughter. I heard calls and commands to one another. So what did that mean? How can this be? If this 88-acre fish pond, 800 years old, was left inoperable in 1965 because of a huge flood that came through and broke out that break wall, again, rendering it inoperable. So why should we care? Because that place used to sustain a community with protein enough for about 1,000 pounds per acre, which is pretty significant, substantial to that community. So I'm sharing this because this is going to be the visual or the visual metaphor that I want to integrate into the rest of the story. 3 years later, I find myself in my final year of studies at Manoa. And one of my mentors, Kū Makani Alan-Castor, who's a faculty member here, she had invited me to apply for a position. And with Kū Makani here, we were given this great opportunity. I was hired as a teacher assistant, and we were the founding instructional team for Kikulo Kamakau, a K-12 full immersion program based out on the windward side. And why I want to share that with you is because if it was not for Makalapua Alan-Castor and her team of leaders, without her brave, courageous leadership style, much of what we are now accomplishing through Paipao Heʻeia at Heʻeia Fishpond would have not happened at all. And here's the reason why. Because in my first year of instruction, she allowed me to design some kind of prototype. And we did so. It was a summer enrichment program in 2000, and it was well received. 5th through 8th graders was loving it. There were great reports from parents. And what that did is it served as a platform for other schools to see that, yes, learning happens beautifully outside of the institution and outside of the classroom, 4 walls. And while that might be the new norm, or that is the norm, that was not the norm 20 years ago. That was not the norm 20 years ago. So, continue on the journey. 10 years later, I find myself, because I was at Paipao Heʻeia for 12 years and with Kakou for a handful of years. 10 years later, in 2010, I find myself at the helm of a charter school, Hālau Kumana on Oʻahu. And when I arrived on the scene, much like the fish pond wall when I had visited her and noticed the condition or the state, being overtaken by invasive mangroves and the wall losing its integrity and its firmness and its ability to keep in water and sediment outside. It was the state of the condition of the school was very much like that state that I had found Heʻeia Fish Pond. And so I was so fortunate that I was a part of a really awesome team of faculty members, of students, of family members, and key partners. And together we came up with a strategy to turn around the school. And it was live or die. It was a live or die situation. We had lost 60% of our school enrollment when I got there. We were on the very bottom of the school ranking when you look at test scores, standardized test scores. And we were issued notice by the commission that we would be shuttered if we didn't turn things around. So what did we do? We did what our colleagues have called out to do, is we grounded ourselves into the stories of that particular place, that Aina, of our kupuna, and we had to clarify for ourselves what is excellence and what is our expectations of ourselves. And we didn't have to go far because it's all in our mo'olelo. It's in our proverbs and it's in our daily practices. So what we were able to do in a very short time, we were able to flip the script, rewrite the narrative, and when I left in 2014, we ranked in the top 10 of all public high schools. And thank you. And it was bittersweet for us, I gotta say. It was bittersweet because while we were really grateful for some kind of recognition for the hard work, and it did come with some financial awards as well, and that was sorely needed. We knew that we were still not reaching our highest potential because we were allowing ourselves to be measured by somebody's external definition and measure of success. How can that be in 2019? How can that be today? Moving on, I find myself on this beautiful island of Maikane, and I took the reins to serve as head of school at Konoka Aina Public Charter School, a culture-based school. And kind of very similar story. Our faculty and family members and students, they wanted to go through a process of redefining what does excellence mean to us? And what does that mean in a very local context? What does that mean as a Waimea Hawaii person? And so what we did is we went through the exercise, and ultimately we decided to design a program that would graduate students with 2 degrees. So our students there's a program available to them where you can graduate with your high school diploma and your associate's degree simultaneously with no cost-free to the student. This picture represents the first cohort that's successfully completed this program. Oh, I'm gonna go back. What I wanted to mention here was, again, kind of the same kind of tension and the bittersweetness. While we were, as a community, as a Waimea community, very proud of the work and the effort that we had put forward with tremendous support from Hawaii Community College and Kamehameha schools. I caught a conversation one night. I was working late, as we do as educators. And I caught a conversation. I listened in. I had 3 students in the office. They were right next to me. Their study session. And basically they were talking about, they're all abuzz and really excited. Oh, I'm gonna apply here, I'm gonna apply there, and this is my A school and my B school, and I got all my financial apps in, and I'm so excited. Quickly, the conversation turned around. And one student replies like, oh, I'm so excited, but you know what? Waka, even if I get in, even if I get a scholarship, it's gonna be so hard for me to go. I don't think I can go because my mom and my dad and my tutu guys, they said they need me at home. I need to help support my family, and they're counting on me to help support financially. And then her friend responded like, oh man, yeah, even me, if I do get accepted to a school on the continent and say I do accept, I don't know how I feel about that, because honestly, if I go away, I don't think I'm gonna come home, because I hear all of my family and friends talking about we can't afford to live here. Why is this? So this is what I gleaned from 20 years of being on the front line with many of you here, my role models and my mentors, my contemporaries. And what I had gathered from that student conversation, one, is that the affordability issue is real. It's so significant, especially here in Hawaii. It's so compounded. We cannot afford to live here to protect the Aina that we descend from, that we love. 2, that we lack job options that are aligned with our value sets and our world views. Why is that? Lots of jobs in the education space, but what if I'm talented in programming? What if I have an eye for graphic design? What if I want to produce music or films? Where do I go? Who are my mentors? What are my pathways? What are my first steps until job entry? And then finally, I alluded to it. There might be a few of us, I'm talking to the crowd. You guys are the ones that found a way to navigate and create out of dreams and intentions. I'm surrounded by the visionaries right here. But what about when we're privileged because of that? But what about our other keiki that maybe don't have that navigation skill and don't know what questions to ask or what next steps to take? So why does this even exist? What is this bottleneck? So I see this is my picture in my mind. I see this tremendous, vibrant P20 system strategy for normalizing, renormalizing language, it is vibrant. It's Mokuola. And I think we need to, here's my thing. I think we need to replicate that strategy, replicate that, bottle up that energy, bottle up that intelligence, and we need to create a similar parallel pathway for the new economy. Because if not, what's going to happen? Beautiful, informed, skilled workforce with very little jobs, job availability. And so that's my point about the narrow view of Ōlelo Hawaiʻi integration, is that we need to learn everything that we are doing right and the things that we have not done right. And now I want to put forward, I want to implore this body of intellect and of passion. We need to do this for economic development, for the jobs, for job creation. And we need the tools, and we need a new definition of what is success, what is excellence, what is profitability, what is economic prosperity that's grounded in ike kupuna, that's grounded in our ways of being. And we can only do this if we continue to support the Hawaiian medium education, at least here locally, all of the normalization efforts, because we know that language and identity go hand in hand with a strong, vibrant economy. I'm just gonna blast through the rest of this because I'm losing time. Here's the little social enterprise that myself and two of my great friends got to establish. We're only 2 years old, actually. And really uncanny, and so, we have this typical commercial space in downtown Honolulu. It's like optimal, prime commercial space. Close to university, close to Waikiki. And we had to discover for ourselves, like, what kind of models could we put into place that would maintain the integrity of who we are and continue to promote the well-being of our people in a way that wasn't going to be destructive, and continue to extract resources from our Aina and to devastate our Aina. So what did we come up with? We came up with the Resiliency Hub. So we doubled down on what we all know as Indigenous peoples, that relationships are key, they're number one. And so we created a place where everybody wants to be, at least in downtown Honolulu. And so it's a magnet. It attracts, the bankers, the lawyers, the CEOs of many different businesses. We are attracting, of course, researchers because of our close proximity to the university, and students as well. We also to us, this is our measure of success. We still want hardcore practitioners still enjoy the space. And so when we can create a space where we can find some potential synergies across that vast gamut of sometimes opposing ideas, and we're willing to come together in a safe way and an inclusive way because of one reason, and that is Aloha for Hawaii, we know we're on to something that's right. So we know that we're new to the game. We're totally new. We're the newbies. However, all of these logos, for us in the room that are pili to this Aina, you know these are wonderful businesses and nonprofits and institutions that have been doing the work. They've been doing the work. One of the bright spots that I wanted to highlight, Hawaiian Airlines, kudos to them. Recently, if you didn't know, I'm sure we all know, they held their first inter-island flight in total Ōlelo Hawaiʻi. And then the next flight to Las Vegas and back in Ōlelo Hawaiʻi. That's a good step forward. You have Bank of Hawaii, right? That has a network of 400 ATMs throughout the Pai'aina, throughout the state. And you have an option, right? You can select Ōlelo Hawaiʻi as your primary language to transact. that's a good step forward. But is it enough? Is it enough to try and make impact as an individual organization or an individual institution? Or do we need to do what our wonderful advocates have done and employ a multi-stakeholder cooperation situation? I don't think it's enough for us to tackle the dilemma of not having enough value-aligned jobs as one organization. So here's my new bliss. And I hope it resonates with you so it can become our new bliss. Hawaii a home where ʻōlelo Hawaii and ʻike Hawaii creates the conditions for which business, economy, and society thrives. Why is that important? Why? Because we're totally behind already. We need to create the jobs of the future today. We know we're facing this out-migration situation, you know, where we had 2016-17, we had 20,000 people leave Hawaii because of cost of living reasons. So is that okay? We need to create the conditions for which we can create the new economy and more jobs that's grounded in who we are. I wanted to wrap this all up, going back to that visual metaphor of Heʻeia fishpond and restoration of a people and a restoration of a place.
Other Alakai, if you're going to Alakai, a group of 50, please come over here.
Pretty much, we're gonna try send out people by 200 at a time. So like we'll meet up first floor, Alakai, second floor, and then we'll go down.
Thank you. Thank you. Aloha Kakou. Awesome. Thank you for coming to Panikapuka. Thank you for being part of this very historic and momentous event. We anticipate about 2,000 people that will be lining our kuapa and helping us to solidify the strength of our kuapa. So thank you again for being here from the keiki all the way to Kupuna. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. This is something of great magnitude. It hasn't happened for over 200 years, and it's a really important time for us to take pause and to remember and be reminded of the genius of our ancestors. It is because of them and their legacy that we have a blueprint to live more sustainably.
We've never had more than 400 people on site. I'm excited to see people from all different circles, you know, ohana, people that have been coming here for 15 years since we've been around, people that are brand new, people that are malihini. The nation of Hawaii is built upon basically this Aina and inclusive of all people. I'm excited to see that. Don't really know how it's gonna actually go until it goes.
If you guys all saw the 5-gallon buckets that were inside that were half full with coral, those are the buckets that are gonna be passed out. So at the end where the puka is, they built 2 walls on the side. There's a bridge going over it. So all the coral is going into the 2 sides.
You know, when your kupuna call you to action for whatever reason, you just do it. And we're sort of freaking out about today, but we know that it's gonna be good and it's gonna end with a fish pond that is makaukau to receive fish.
We want to be able to provide food for this community. I really think this fish pond can do that.
It's going to benefit so many people and future generations too. So our work today, it's only going to benefit for the future, and that's the main thing.
We come from up Mauka and Yoleka'a, so our water meets this fish pond. It's a inherent kuleana for us to keep this relationship from Mauka to Makai going.
Came out here to give back to the Aina. We were taught that this fish pond was here over 800 years ago. The United States of America is not even close to being that age, and so there's a lot of history. For some of the kids, they're Hawaiian, for some of them not, but all of them have an opportunity to give back and be a part of the community.
It's beyond words. You can bring people from all over the islands. We just met a couple from Waimea on the Big Island. That's what Mokuola Aina, Mokuola Honua is all about. Bringing people together, no matter where we're from.
Ua hiki mai au me ke kai o ka umau hau mana hula. I hiki ke ho iki ia lako ka hana ia ma ka wakahiko. Lawe mai ia lako. Ho a o wau ma o ka hula e kako o ia lako e ike I ka hana o ka poe Hawaiʻi ka wakahiko. I hiki ho o mau mana o hana o ke ia au. Oh, ke hiki mai me ka pakeke hope. Woohoo!
What today stands for is the power of the Hawaiian spirit, the power of Hawaiians being in charge of their own destiny and their places that feed them and have fed us for years. And the way that that's been done is a Kakou effort. Laulima, many hands.
You gotta return this kind of practice to normalcy. And what it did is it pointed out that we need a lot more practice.
Hopefully later we get better and better. But we try to push, at least we got the gate out. So we didn't, this 50 years ago, never have one connection from this. Now at least we can say 50 years worth, we finally connected them in our time.
I'm overwhelmed because I don't know what the future holds for this fish pond. I have high hopes, but I know it's going to be something awesome.
So I've reached the end of my sharing. Before I go to my last slide, I wanted to mahalo Kawaiʻoli Ho for being one of our co-founders and helping us to solidify the work. Mahalo, mahalo nui ʻoe. Okay, so what do we do about all of this? Well, here's my best bet. This is not a complete list of things that we should do or strategies that we should deploy. But I'm calling out, we need to identify who are those ally industries. It cannot be just a small collection of individual organizations or businesses. This needs to be an industry effort. We need to transform the way that we do business in Hawaii. Our core competency at Waiwai Collective, our number one core competency is helping to cultivate relationships, grounding in place, Ike Hawaiʻi, and Olelo Hawaiʻi. These core competencies should be for our entire workforce. To aloha this land, to aloha the language of this land, so that we can better care for one another. We need to launch prototypes. Clearly, we know how to do that. So let's do more of that. And let's find the right funders to do that. That's in alignment with our values, so that we can demonstrate value creation. Because when the buck hits the road, it's hard work trying to create a new value proposition and a new way for envisioning prosperity in a more balanced manner. And then finally, our previous speakers enlightened us about this and what they're doing so strategically and with excellence. Build infrastructural capacity and advance enabling policies. Meia mamana'o he mahalo piha ia o ko pakahi na oiwi e ho'olana I ko kakou mau o lelo oiwi. Aloha.